In this WrestleTalk news, serious heat on MJF following AEW Revolution, FTR plans, AEW's interest in Mercedes Mone, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news because, it's a post-AEW pay-per-view media scrum. And we've got the word heat in the video's title. Pete, it's happening again!
Support WrestleTalk!
Following last night's AEW Revolution, MJF is still your AEW World Champion, defeating Bryan Danielson in an epic 16-minute Iron Man match that actually ended up going longer than 60 minutes due to a tie. Go and watch Ollie Davis's review of that show right here on this very channel. The match itself has, unsurprisingly, received a lot of acclaim from fans and critics alike, but unfortunately, a moment during the match involving a fan at ringside is what some people are now talking about. For those who didn't see the match, early on MJF went to ringside and threw a cup of water over a small child because he's a heel and was looking to get heel heat. However, it seems like there's a fine line between being a heel and being a dick, and the incident looks like it did not go down well backstage. While it was initially assumed the child was a plant to help MJF, Sean Ross Sapp has since reported that was not the case, and the child was genuinely upset with what happened. Sapp tweeted, "It seems like the kid MJF threw a drink on wasn't a plant. He was very upset. Will Washington went and got him an acclaimed foam finger. Some others from AEW talked to the child to help smooth things over. Amanda Huber is sitting with him now." A lot of viewers took to Twitter to share their anger at what happened, with many of the opinion that MJF took things too far and that he let his heel character get the better of him. On the other hand, as is always the case in these situations, especially on a wonderful platform such as Twitter, plenty of other fans are delighted to see that even a small child is not safe from the wrath of the AEW champion. But Tony Khan is not one of those people, revealing in the post-show media scrum that he had a serious chat with young Maxwell and his actions were not befitting of a champion, especially as there are now conflicting reports that the water that MJF threw on the kid was either tequila or vodka. Who is drinking straight tequila or vodka at a wrestling show? What were you doing during the tag match? Jaeger bombs? Khan said in the scrum, "We had a conversation before we came up here. We had a serious conversation, and I mean that. It's not to be taken lightly." The young man, Titus, was a real pro about it. We'll see Titus again in AEW. I believe he's coming to Sacramento. I was just with him, and he was a real champ about it. The champion didn't act like a champion there. Titus was great. Titus to AEW confirmed. MJF himself would add his slightly less thoughtful reaction to the incident, saying, "Kid looked thirsty. Sort of, yeah, that Titus. Real worried about him." Like a lot of MJF stuff since Double or Nothing last year, it's tough to know where the line is between work and shoot, and working yourself into a shoot jabroni marks much love HH. MJF's return at All Out last year was, in storyline, a last-minute resort for Tony Khan to get MJF to stay with the company. So it would be in line with him that he would have a serious conversation and say he's not acting like a champion. But on the other hand, maybe MJF did just take things too far and Tony had to have a very real chat with him. Either way, everyone at WrestleTalk hopes Titus is okay and that he was able to enjoy the rest of the show, even if he was a little bit soggier than when he arrived. Thank you for your support on Patreon, the $100 Man CD Horver, and the Kessel Run DX Solo. You can get your name read out in the WrestleTalk news by heading over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Much to the delights of Tempest, who has admitted many times behind the scenes here at WrestleTalk that his favorite tag team of all time is the Gun Club, Austin and Colton Gunn are still your AEW Tag Team Champions after they overcame the Acclaimed, Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, and the greatest team in AEW, Team TNA. What Tempest will be less happy about is that according to a new report, there are already plans in place for the team who will eventually dethrone the Guns. After their match, the Gun Club were interviewed by Renee Paquette, but their chat was cut short by the return of former AEW Tag Champions FTR, who haven't wrestled in AEW since they lost to the Ass Boys in December last year. Since then, there's been a lot of speculation about FTR's future in the company, with even speculation that they could be heading back to WWE because there is interest there. FTR certainly made their intentions clear in AEW that they want the tag belts back, which ties into a report from WRKD Wrestling, who said that the plan, as of right now, is that FTR are set to be the team to dethrone the Gun Club, even though Tony has a perfectly good Team TNA right there to put all the belts on. In terms of reliability, WRKD is the Twitter account that first reported the return of Trish Stratus to WWE, so there's every chance that they do know what they're talking about. What this return and report may also confirm is that FTR may have signed a contract extension with AEW. Early this year, Dax Harwood revealed on his podcast that his and Cash's contracts were up at the start of April 2023. So presumably, if they are going to win the belt, they'll need to sign a new deal. I mean, it's not like AEW would have a champion working on a date-by-date basis while not actually signed to an official contract, is it? Expect Dax Harwood to do a veiled shoot interview about this situation on the next episode of his very excellent podcast. FTR's last actual wrestling match was on January 4th, where they lost the IWGP Tag Team Championships to Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. On that same show, the former Sasha Banks made her New Japan debut under the new name Mercedes Mone, even posing for a picture backstage with the team alongside absolute bestie Bayley. There had been rumor and speculation that Banks could be heading to AEW, specifically as the company promoted a mystery partner for Saraya to take on Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter the week after Wrestle Kingdom. That partner instead turned out to be Toni Storm, but it hasn't stopped the rumor mill spinning on whether Mone will end up in AEW at some point. According to Dave Meltzer, Mone only has a few dates left with New Japan, and TK was asked about the current IWGP Women's Champion in the media scrum, and in a very un-Tony Khan response to the matter, he was diplomatic about the situation and did not tease a huge announcement. He said, "I have a ton of respect for the IWGP Women's World Champion. She's a tremendous wrestler. I wouldn't want to comment on discussions I've had with any wrestler who is a free agent, in particular a wrestler who is a champion of one of our partners. A ton of respect for that great wrestler and somebody that any wrestling company would be very fortunate to have wrestling for them." So, Mercedes Mone to AEW confirmed? It's time, once again, for your compulsory CM Punk story.
Compulsory CM Punk story.
The AEW post-show media scrum has become synonymous with wrestlers coming out and speaking their minds, and sometimes following that, having a backstage fight where people bite other people and a dog has to get saved. But usually it's just the speaking their mind part. In the post-media scrum, and once the awkwardness of the poor wet child had been dealt with, MJF went on a typically ranty rant about himself as world champion and made certain references to former AEW champion and still Ollie Davis's favorite wrestler, CM Punk. MJF said, "Who's the best wrestler in the world? Is it Jon Moxley? Is it Bryan Danielson? I'm just curious. Tell me, Dave, is it your boy Kenny? Is it John? Yeah, laugh all you want, dipsh. I'm the man now. Me, I'm the best wrestler in the world. There is no more complete wrestler on this planet. Nobody's got my body, nobody's got my mind, nobody's got my brain. Inside that ring, on the microphone, hell, even at a goddamn press conference, nobody can touch me in this business." Of course, there's several references there to best in the world, but MJF quite purposefully there paraphrased a section of CM Punk's pipe bomb promo at the end of the rant. So, here we are again. Another reference to CM Punk amidst all the news that he could be returning to the company now that his injury is fully healed. There still, though, isn't a lot known about the situation, other than Dave Meltzer speculating that he might come back on a recent episode of Wrestling Observer Radio. Meltzer has also said that fences need to be mended between the Punk and the Elite, which reportedly is yet to happen. And it raises the question of what would a Punk return mean for the current contract negotiations between Tony Khan and the Elite. But never mind that shit. A Punk versus MJF feud would make a lot of sense given their history, but Maxwell may have a different obstacle to get past first, and this obstacle is cowboy-shaped. When asked who he might like to face, or at the very least thinks would be next in line for a shot of the belt, it was Hangman Page, who defeated Jon Moxley, that was the first name to come to MJF's mind. He said, "To be brutally honest, there's a lot of people on my radar. I'm fully aware that Hangman Page is a good competitor. I'm also fully aware of how I won the Dynamite Diamond ring. Anyone know who I beat for this originally? Hangman Adam Page. I think Hangman is scared of MJF, and I think Hangman knows better than to come anywhere near MJF for the time being. MJF mentioned several other names during this latest rant, including Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara, who he thinks don't deserve to walk around the locker room like they're homegrown talent. Other names included Claudio Castagnoli and Eddie Kingston, who MJF labeled a crybaby bitch after Kingston quit AEW following last week's episode of AEW Dynamite. He finished by saying, "There are a lot of people that I would love to absolutely demolish both on the microphone and in the ring, but as I said, I don't do dream matches. The only dream I have is to hold the AEW World title and for the reign of terror to last an eternity."
FTR return. Jon Moxley debuts his new favourite weapon, a frickin' brick. And all competing members of Strong Submission Style Specialists, the Blackpool Combat Club, tap out. William Regal leaves you all alone for 3 months and now this. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is my review of AEW Revolution 2023. In about 10 minutes.